Did you know The Blues Brothers wasn't just a movie? It was practically a war zone on set. From real police chases, massive car pileups, a cocaine budget, and hundreds of arrests. This cult classic was pure chaos, wrapped in music and comedy. So, buckle up your seatbelts, because in the next few minutes, we're diving deep into 15 weird facts you didn't know about the Blues Brothers. And trust me, fact number 5 will make you question how this movie even got made at all. Number 1. The cocaine budget was actually real. Let's start with something outrageous: the drug budget. During filming, both John Belushi and several crew members were reportedly so deep into their cocaine habits that the production team literally included a cocaine budget in their daily expenses. Crew members later revealed that a production assistant was unofficially assigned to manage Belushi's drug supply because without it, he simply wouldn't show up. It got so bad that one night, Belushi wandered off set and disappeared into a random neighborhood. The team sent out search parties and found him hours later, sleeping on a stranger's couch. Number 2. Chicago became a real-life wrecking ground. When it comes to car chases, the Blues Brothers wasn't just ambitious, it was completely insane. The production destroyed 103 cars, setting a world record at the time for the most vehicles wrecked in a single film. They didn't use miniatures or effects. Every crash was real, and Chicago city streets turned into a demolition derby. Even more unbelievable, the filmmakers got permission from the Chicago city government to drive through real downtown streets at over 100 miles per hour. They even shut down parts of the Loop and Lower Wacker Drive, something no movie had ever been allowed to do before. Citizens who didn't know it was a shoot panicked, thinking the city was under attack. Yep, the chaos you see on screen? That's 100% real Chicago destruction. Number 3. The shopping mall scene was filmed in a real abandoned mall. Remember that wild scene where they crashed through a shopping mall? That wasn't a set. It was a real abandoned mall in Harvey, Illinois. The filmmakers found the Dixie Square Mall, which had been closed for years, and decided to revive it just to destroy it. They spent weeks cleaning it up, rebranding fake store signs and stocking shelves, just to crash cars through them. The cleanup was so good that locals actually thought the mall had reopened. Some even came inside looking to shop. After the scene was done, the place was left in ruins again. And even today, parts of that destroyed mall remain standing like a movie graveyard. Number 4. Aretha Franklin's scene almost didn't happen. One of the film's most iconic scenes is Aretha Franklin singing "Think," but behind the scenes, it was a nightmare to film. Aretha wasn't used to lip-syncing to pre-recorded music, which is standard in movies. She was a live performer. Every note she sang came from her soul. So when the director asked her to mouth along to her own voice playback, she struggled. Take after take, the timing was off. It took dozens of retakes before she got comfortable enough for the final cut. But in the end, that passionate frustration actually made her performance even more powerful. That raw emotion you see on her face. It's not just acting, it's Aretha's real energy breaking through the camera. Number 5. The movie cost a fortune and nearly bankrupted the studio. At a time when most comedies cost $5 to $10 million to make, The Blues Brothers ballooned to over $30 million, one of the most expensive movies of its time. Why so high? Between massive car stunts, huge music rights fees, military-level logistics, and Belushi's unpredictable behavior, costs exploded daily. Universal Pictures executives nearly shut the movie down multiple times. They thought it would be a disaster. But then, the soundtrack exploded, and the film became a cult phenomenon. It earned back over $115 million worldwide, turning what looked like a guaranteed flop into one of the most legendary comedies in history. Number 6. The police chase was so massive, it required real cops. That final police chase? It wasn't movie magic. It was one of the biggest real car chases ever filmed. The production team coordinated with the Chicago Police Department, the Illinois State Police, and even National Guardsmen to pull it off. In total, more than 200 real police vehicles were involved. Not props, not stunt doubles. Real cars, with actual officers driving many of them. The logistics were so intense that Chicago looked like it was under martial law. And when you see hundreds of cars crashing and flipping over in the finale, just remember, every one of those crashes was real, and everyone cost thousands of dollars. It wasn't just a car chase scene. It was an automotive apocalypse caught on film. Number 7. Real neo-Nazis tried to shut down filming. Here's one of the most disturbing and weird facts. The Illinois Nazis in the movie weren't just fictional villains. During production, real-life neo-Nazi groups found out about the film's parody of them and actually threatened the cast and crew. At one point, during filming near a bridge scene, these extremists showed up with weapons and shouted threats from a distance. The Chicago police had to step in and escort the film crew out for safety. The cast, especially Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, thought the situation was both terrifying and absurd, but they refused to cut the Nazi subplot, turning that real tension into dark humor on screen. So yeah, those villains weren't just acting targets of mockery. They were real enemies outside the frame. Number 8. James Brown's scene was nearly impossible to film. James Brown's electrifying church performance is unforgettable, but capturing that energy was almost a disaster. The production decided to record the entire scene live, meaning Brown's vocals weren't pre-recorded. This created a massive audio nightmare because syncing a live gospel choir, a band, and Brown's unpredictable singing in a huge church with bad acoustic, nearly impossible. The sound department begged to use playback, but Brown refused. He wanted the real sound of his voice and the crowd. In the end, the crew had to use over 40 microphones and hours of sound editing to make it work. The result? One of the most authentic and spiritually charged scenes in movie history, literally powered by James Brown's refusal to fake it. Number 9. The script was written in just 2 weeks. Believe it or not, the Blues Brothers script, this massive, music-filled, chaotic masterpiece, was written in just 2 weeks. Dan Aykroyd, who co-wrote it with director John Landis, was known for writing in his own bizarre way, not like a normal screenplay, but more like a telephone book filled with random notes, dialogue fragments, and car diagrams. The first draft was 324 pages long, more than triple a normal movie script. John Landis had to spend weeks just cutting it down to something filmable. But that chaotic draft also captured the essence of Aykroyd's mind, a weird, free-flowing mix of comedy, action, and soul music that somehow turned into one of the most unique films ever made. Number 10. Dan Aykroyd's real-life obsession inspired the movie. Before the Blues Brothers became a movie, it was a Saturday Night Live sketch. But for Aykroyd, it was much more than that. He was genuinely obsessed with blues and soul music, spending years collecting records, visiting clubs, and hanging out with real musicians. He even owned a bar in Toronto called the 505 Club, where live blues bands performed. That's where the concept of Jake and Elwood Blues was born. The movie wasn't just a comedy. It was Aykroyd's tribute to the black musicians who shaped American music, but rarely got the recognition they deserved. That's why every musical performance in the film, from Ray Charles to Aretha Franklin to Cab Calloway, was treated with deep respect and authenticity. Number 11. The Bluesmobile had supernatural powers. The 1974 Dodge Monaco police car, known as the Bluesmobile, wasn't just a prop. It became a character of its own. Dan Aykroyd actually wrote in the script that the car had divine power. In one deleted scene, Elwood even takes Jake to a voodoo priest who blesses the car, giving it supernatural ability. The crew leaned into the joke, giving the Bluesmobile unbelievable capabilities like jumping bridges, driving through a mall, and outrunning helicopters. They even used 13 different cars for the Bluesmobile, each one customized for a specific stunt, like high-speed chases or insane flips. The craziest part? One of the cars actually disappeared after filming, rumored to have been stolen from the set and never recovered. Number 12. The movie almost bankrupted Universal Pictures. When production began, The Blues Brothers was supposed to be a $10 million comedy. Simple, fast, and fun. By the time it wrapped, the The budget exploded to over $30 million, making it one of the most expensive comedies ever made at the time. Why? Because of the endless car chases, real explosions, and constant delays from John Belushi's unpredictable behavior. Universal Studios was furious. Executives demanded daily updates and even tried to shut down filming multiple times. But once the movie hit theaters and became a massive hit, all that chaos paid off. The studio went from panic to profit, and the Blues Brothers became a cult phenomenon. Number 13. John Belushi went missing, and locals helped find him. Belushi's wild off-screen lifestyle was legendary, but during filming, it nearly derailed the entire production. One night, he vanished from the set in Chicago. No one could find him, not the assistant director, not even Dan Aykroyd. After hours of searching, Aykroyd finally spotted a small house with the lights on. He knocked, and there was Belushi inside, raiding a stranger's refrigerator. The local family didn't mind. They were thrilled to find a Hollywood star in their kitchen. From then on, Aykroyd started calling him America's guest. That random Chicago family even visited the set the next day. And yes, they got free Blues Brothers merch for life. Number 14. The final car pileup set a world record. That insane finale with hundreds of police cars crashing. It wasn't just over-the-top filmmaking, it was a world record. At the time, the Blues Brothers car pileup held the Guinness World Record for the most cars destroyed in a single movie scene. A staggering 103 vehicles. Director John Landis didn't use CGI or miniatures. Every car was physically crashed, flipped, or wrecked on camera. The destruction was so huge that nearby Chicago residents actually called 911, thinking a real disaster had happened. The record stood for decades, until Blues Brothers 2000 broke it by wrecking even more cars. But nothing beats the raw chaos of the original. Number 15. The cast was constantly surrounded by real blues legends. Most people know the film featured stars like Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, and James Brown, but few realize how deep that musical heritage went. Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi filled the set with real blues musicians, from Steve Cropper and Donald "Duck" Dunn to Matt "Guitar" Murphy, who played Aretha's husband in the diner scene. Between takes, these legends would jam out backstage, turning the movie set into a real blues club. Aykroyd later said that some of his happiest memories weren't from shooting, but from those unplanned midnight jam sessions. The movie didn't just honor blues music, it literally kept it alive for a new generation.